Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here again with another review, and I'm going to talk about Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is arguably my favorite of all the Nightmare movies. I'm going to try and make this review as short and as sweet as I possibly can, because I can talk forever about this movie. It's that damn good. Wes Craven comes back as writer and director, and he crafts a tale that is considered to be the precursor to Scream. Pretty much, this movie takes place within the real world, and Freddy is presented as a real-life entity. Now, the way the movie describes Freddy Krueger is he's this ancient evil that for years can only be captured through storytellers and stuff like that. However, there's a catch. Once the story gets either too familiar or too repetitive, then that evil will break free and try to enter the real world. And the only way to stop this evil is to make another Nightmare film to keep the evil from ever coming to our world. That is the general gist of this movie, and to me, this is intriguing stuff. This is unique to me. This is unique. This is original. It's a play on the genie in the bottle. It's a play on this whole concept of the genie in the bottle, and I like it. Wes Craven's writing and directing is fantastic. This movie is a slow burn, but it's paced really, really well, and the story in it gives the story time to breathe and unfold in a natural way, and it lets its characters develop in a natural way without being forced together. And its utilization of Freddy is very minimal, and he's not shoehorned in every single scene or shoehorned at all in this movie. He appears in scenes where it's necessary to have an appearance from him, and that's something I can appreciate, and it's something that the other Nightmare movies, failed to do, because they just put a lot of emphasis on Freddy Krueger to the point where he became the comedian. In my opinion, if the other movies that follow the template of the first movie in terms of how many Freddy appearances you should do, then the sequels would have been much, much better. But this movie goes back to that original movie. There's a lot of nods, references to it. There's a lot of familiar kills. This movie lifts from the first movie, but it does it in sort of unique, different ways, which I like. The acting in this movie is top notch. Everyone in this movie plays fictionalized versions of themselves, since this movie is presented in the real world. So Heather Langenkamp returns. She plays a fictionalized version of herself. She's married, she has a kid, and Heather Langenkamp does a fantastic job in this movie. This is quite possibly one of her best roles ever. She completely outshines herself in the first and third Nightmare movies with this one. She delivered the goods in a big way. I love how she was able to portray this protective mother at the same time who is trying to figure out just exactly what's going on, and how she feels that Freddy Krueger is real and not just in a movie. And I love how she portrays that. Did a great job. Miko Hughes, the young child actor who played her son, amazing job, especially with the amount of work he had to put in. Of course, in this movie, Heather Langenkamp's husband is killed by Freddy, and we also have Freddy trying to get to Miko as well, and how he was able to carry all that weight from his father dying to the whole Freddy trying to take control of him. It was done really, really well, and his acting was superb. There were times where you fell for him. There were times where you were legitimately creeped out by him, and he pulled it off. He delivered the goods as well. John Saxon renaissances again in this movie, and I like how this movie parallels the fictionalized relationship of Saxon and Langenkamp to that of their relationship in the movies, as that father-daughter relationship, which I thought was really, really good, really, really cool. They have this awesome scene in the park where they're having a nice little conversation. At the same time, the son Dylan, is climbing up this toy structure, and and the line is, trying to reach God, and because the whole thing that happened was father. And I like that too. It was well directed, well suspense, and that scene was fantastic. The music was great also. I love it. Of course, we got Robert Englund, who of course makes an appearance out of makeup as Robert Englund, and in my opinion, the best scene with Robert Englund as himself is his first scene, where it's a talk show, it's this talk show scene, and Robert comes out in full Freddy garb, and he's playing with the crowd, hamming it up. But why I like this scene is that it's so ridiculous, but at the same time it's so creepy and very unsettling in a way, because you just get a real grand scope of just how much Freddy Krueger is ingrained in popular culture, to the point where he become like this pop icon, and everyone is just like hounding him. It's creepy and awesome all at the same time to see that happen. Love it. This movie's light on the kills, but you don't need it, because this movie plays more like it's supernatural. It's like a fantasy horror, but it has elements of a psychological thriller, which I love. And Wes Craven is so talented; he's able to mesh that all together and make it work. And of course, in one of my favorite scenes, which of course is an exposition, it's an exposition dump scene, but I love it. This is, of course, the scene where Heather goes to visit Wes to talk about what's happening, talk about the script, and Wes, gives her the whole spiel. And the reason why I like this scene a lot is because it may come across as a boring scene to others, but to me, it comes across as having this creepy undertone to it, where Wes comes across as almost like a horror maestro in some sort of way, which is amazing. It just further enhances this movie to another greater plateau. The scenes with Freddy, I love him. I love the whole look of Freddy, with the leather pants, the boots, the jacket, the hat, the way his face is designed. He doesn't look more like a burn victim. It almost looks as if like his skin was like cut with knives and stuff like that. Of course, I also like the look of the hands. Of course, he ain't wearing a glove, but he had like these sharp blades attached to his hands, which look really cool, and gives this Freddy a very unique look. I love a lot of the visual tributes this movie does. Of course, you get this awesome tribute of Freddy Krueger mimicking Nosferatu, which was fantastic. His first initial scene where he like pops out of the closet and scares Nancy is great, and they have like a little chase around the house. The scene where he kills the babysitter in the hospital in a recreation of the Tina death from Nightmare 1 was great. The whole scene of him chasing after Heather and Dylan inside Freddy's lair, which is like this amazing looking set design that has like pillars, and then you get like this large mural of Freddy's face, and it just looks very gothic and very awesome. You gotta watch the movie to appreciate that set, because it looks really damn good. Practical effects at its best. Of course, I love all that stuff too, and I love how Freddy is defeated in a very Hansel and Gretel way, which is a nice little callback to that story. And I like how this movie kind of like, in a lot of scenes, that movie references that story very well too, in a lot of good scenes. And of course, I love the ending where, Nancy gets or Heather gets the final script of the film, and she starts talking about it to her son. So this movie's full of good stuff. I even like the opening prologue, which is like almost like a mimic of the original scene, but then you revealed that you're basically on a movie set, and I love how that was pulled off. So yeah, this movie is fantastic. Like I said, it's paced in a natural way. It gives time for the story to develop and breathe. You get natural character development, natural character progression, and story progression. And this movie really does stand alone as, to me, something very special, and something that was way before its time. Like this movie came out before self-referential was cool. This was the first, well, maybe not the first one, but it was definitely one of the better ones in terms of that self-referential type of movie. New Nightmare did it best, in my opinion. And again, look at the talent. Wes Craven, and plus most of the original cast in the first Nightmare movie come back to make a really good 10-year anniversary film. So yeah, all that said and done, New Nightmare to me is a solid 10 out of 10. I love it. This is my all-time favorite Nightmare movie. I like it better than the first one. And to me, this movie has everything. And I will say no more, because watch it. I'm AJ Legend. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll check you back next time for more.